If I asked you what was your favorite magic item in D&D, would you struggle to answer? Don't worry, you're not alone. There's so many amazing magical items in the game that it makes it near impossible to experience them all. Not to mention all the amazing and interesting homebrew items on D&D Beyond. So for that reason today, we're going to be going over 5 really cool, fun, and unique items that you have probably never heard of. Before I get started, I have done, I think, 3 or 4 videos similar to this, so if you're interested in this kind of content, I put those links in the description below for you to check out. And if you have any fun, cool, unique magical items that aren't named in this video, be sure to put them in the comment section below. I read the comments pretty much religiously and respond to nearly every one, and honestly, there's a good chance I might feature it in the next video. But with that out of the way, let's get to our first magical item. That would be the Robe of Scintillating Colors. And I definitely pronounced that wrong, but I don't care. This robe has 3 charges and regains 1 D3 charges every day at dawn. While wearing this item, you can use your action and expend the charge to make your robe essentially shine for that round. When you do this, the robe creates a 30-foot bright light area of effect around you, as well as an additional 30 feet past that for a total of 60 of dim light, and any creature that attacks you has disadvantage on that attack. To be quite honest, at first glance, this item seems kind of redundant since it takes an entire action to do that, but there is more to it. Any creature within 30 feet of you when you activate this ability must succeed on a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw or be stunned. Yeah, that's right. You effectively get a 30-foot radius area of effect stun at the cost of 1 action. This is absolutely crazy, and if you don't understand, let me explain. Being stunned is arguably one of the worst conditions you can get in D&D. While stunned, you automatically fail all strength and dexterity saving throws, and any attack against you has advantage. And a stunned creature cannot move, can't take any actions, can't take any reactions, essentially wasting their entire turn. And just to give you an idea of how large this is, you have a 60-foot diameter circle centered around the caster of an area of effect stun. That is a huge range. This item is perfect for those who like to jump right into the middle of the fray of things, kind of like barbarians and fighters. However, I do regret to inform you that this item makes no effort to differentiate friend from foe, and as such, your friends can also be stunned. Because of that, it makes this item much less willy-nilly use every single chance you get to something you kind of need to use a little bit of strategy with. So just make sure before you use this robe that you take a quick look around, check your blind spots, and make sure you don't accidentally TPK your party with a wide stun. Next up on our list, we have the Pyro Converger. Some of you with a little bit of imagination, I'm assuming most of you since you're playing D&D, probably have a good idea what this is just based on the name. Pyro obviously has something to do with fire, and converge means to come together at a point. See where I'm going with this one? The Pyro Converger is effectively a flamethrower. As an action, you can use your Pyro Converger to create a 10-foot wide cone of flames, dealing 4d6 damage or half as much on a successful DC 13 dex save. So think about this like a Dragonborn's natural breath weapon or the Dragon's Breath spell, only it's a little bit less range and slightly more damage to make up for that. Now this item is an engineering item made specifically with a combination of technology and magic, and I bring that up for a very specific reason. Now I know this next bit might be a little bit taboo, but if you've ever played World of Warcraft, I mean back when it was good, do you remember the gnomes and the goblins? Super geniuses that are always inventing some sort of crazy new contraption? Only problem is that most of the inventions had a big manufacturing issue and as such malfunctioned pretty frequently. Now in World of Warcraft, these malfunctions were generally blowing themselves up in some sort of hilarious fashion. Take that and apply that to the Pyro Converger. Each time you use this item, you roll a d10 and add the number of times you've used this item since the last long rest. If that number is 11 or higher, your Pyro Converger essentially explodes and instead deals 4d6 damage to you. Now, the item does not specifically clarify whether or not a malfunction causes the damage to your target and you, or just yourself. I assume that's up to your DM's discretion. I personally like the idea of it exploding and dealing damage to everyone in the range, but hey, totally up to you. So, a really cool item, and probably one you wouldn't see in a traditional D&D setting. Definitely worth a look, and definitely can be a great asset. Just be careful you don't blow yourself up in the process. Moving on to number 3, we have... Hold on a second. Hello? Oh, okay, hold on. I can't say that on YouTube. What do you mean? Yeah, okay, fine. I get it. Okay, yeah, I'll tell him. Okay, fine. Thanks, bye. I love you too. So that was my mom, and she told me in very colorful language that you're not subscribed, so you should probably do that like Like, please, I can't come out of the basement if I don't. Please, please, help me. Please, I'm so hungry. Moving on to number 3, for real this time, we have the wondrous and chaotic Wand of Wonder. If you came here looking for useful items, I regret to inform you that the definition of useful and cool are not interchangeable, but anyways, let's move on. This wand has 7 charges, and that... I held up a hand for 7, and honestly, I'm a little worried about myself. My camera shut off! This wand has 7 charges, and you can use an action to expend 1 charge at a target within 120 feet. A target may be a creature, an object, or a location. You then roll a D100 and hope something good happens. Now, just to explain D100s, because they're very seldom used, D100s are generally used for rolling on larger tables for determining probability. That being said, you may have an idea how this wand works. This wand has 22 possible effects and varying probability of any one effect taking hold, from 2% to 9%. So chances are you're probably not going to get the effect that you want to happen, but I can't say I still wouldn't use it. If you have been around this channel for any amount of time, or at least watched even one more video of mine on top of this, you've probably already guessed that I really enjoy chaos in my games. The possibility of anything happening is exciting, and as such, I would 100% give this to my players. If you don't like chaos in your games, or you like to have a little bit more control in your games, then I do not suggest giving this to your players, because guarantee they will use it. Now, I'm not going to go through all 22 possible effects because, quite honestly, I want to leave it up to your imagination, but I will cover a couple. While using this wand, you might cast slow, stun yourself for a round while thinking something awesome happened, summon a rhinoceros, create 600 oversized butterflies that heavily obscure the area within 30-foot radius, cast fireball, turn a creature's skin blue, or accidentally petrify yourself. Like I said, it is a range of outcomes. And that is only 7. There are still 15 more possible effects this one can have, but I will leave that all up to you to look up. I don't want to spoil all the fun. So yeah, this item is super incredibly fun, but be prepared if you give this to your players, they're gonna use it, and chaos will reign. Next on our list, we have a cool variation of a weapon, and that would be the Sunblade. If I could sum the Sunblade up into 2 words, it would be medieval lightsaber, and I'm using the term lightsaber literally. The Sunblade is effectively a hilt that, while attuned, you can use a bonus action to speak a command word and cause a blade of pure radiance to spring into existence from that hilt. Even though this weapon technically falls into the longsword category, it still has the finesse feature, making it incredibly versatile. Literally. And that makes this item the only one that I'm actually aware of that has both the finesse and versatile properties. And just to clarify, finesse means that you can use your dex modifier for attack rolls and damage rolls versus strength. Meanwhile, if you're using versatile weapons, you can wield the weapon as a 2-handed weapon or a 1-handed weapon. If you're using the weapon as a 2-handed weapon, the damage increases from a D8 to a D10. Speaking of damage, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. For starters, you gain a +2 to all attack and damage rolls made with this weapon, and rather than dealing the usual slashing damage for a longsword, it now deals radiant damage, which is great for getting around resistances for stronger monsters. On top of that, when you're fighting undead with the Sunblade, it deals an extra D8 of radiant damage, which is a nice little bonus and effectively doubles your potency when you're fighting undead creatures. The blade, being made of, well, light, emits a bright light for 15-foot radius around the user, and then an additional 15-foot radius of dim light on top of that, so 30 feet. You can also use an action to increase or decrease the range of your light of the sword, meaning you can go from a minimum of 20 feet all the way up to a maximum of 60 foot of bright and dim light. And I know that sounds redundant, but this light also technically counts as sunlight, and if you don't know why that matters, allow me to explain. Some creatures in D&D, I'm looking at you drows, may have something known as sunlight sensitivity. That means that while within sunlight, the creature has disadvantage on all attack rolls as well as disadvantage on perception checks relying on sight. Now, generally speaking, this probably won't have much of an effect above ground. However, if you ever have to travel underground or in the Underdark, this weapon just went from great to absolutely broken. So yeah, that's the Sunblade. Super cool item, probably one of my favorites. I have way too many favorites. Moving on. Our 5th and final item is significantly less cool than the Sunblade, so because of that, I'm actually going to use 2 items here because you know what? It's my video, I make the rules. Anyways, today's 5th and 6th items are going to be the Charlatan Die and the Tankard of Sobriety. These 2 are the ultimate duo in Tavern Gambling. The Charlatan Die allows you to essentially roll a die and control whatever number it lands on. Needless to say, completely redundant in terms of actual D&D gameplay, but it can be really fun to use in games of luck. Couple that with the tankard of sobriety and you can effectively win any tavern game. The tankard allows you to drink any non-magical beverage without becoming drunk. So with this item, the wizard can outdrink the barbarian with absolutely no repercussions. I mean, aside from the really bad, acid reflux you're probably gonna get, but, maybe that's just a me problem. So yeah, those last two items were definitely the most niche items I have ever mentioned in these videos. However, I still think they're super fun given the right situation. I highly suggest giving them out to players who really like to play up those tavern scenes. But with that being said, that is 5 or actually 6 cool items in D&D that you've probably never heard of. Like I said earlier, I have done videos like this in the past and I've linked them in the description below if you want to go check those out. Also, if you have any cool items that you would like to share with us, please put those in the comment section below. I generally read every single comment, respond to them, and honestly, I might even use your comment in the next video. But with that out of the way, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed and I will see you all on Friday.